Hello and welcome to Citizens Live with me, Mansi Paresh Kumar. My third guest is the very veteran Congress leader, Mr. B.K. Hariprasad, who is the party's candidate from the prestigious Bangalore South constituency. Now, he's never really taken the directly elected route to the parliament, but he is a four-time Rajya Sabha member. So let's ask him what his plans for the constituency is. Good morning and thank you for your time today, sir.
Morning.
So it's been 30 years almost since you've last contested directly fought election. It was Bangalore South and the late Anand Kumar was your opponent then. How much of a change do you see in the young voters today as compared to when you contested in 1999?
Well, it's 20 years now.
30, sir, actually. 99 was 30 now.
No,
Wasn't it? Haven't you contested?
2009 and 2009.
Oh, my apologies then. Yes.
It's 20 years now. The last I contested in 1999. Later, due to the political compulsions, I had to work in AICC. I couldn't give much time here in Bangalore. But Bangalore is the role model for not only for India, to the entire nation. Because I've grown with Bangalore city, right from, I'm born and brought up in Bangalore. It's a startup city and it needs a lot of inputs for further development of the city. One of the best example I can give is because it has traveled a long way from Silk City in the ancient days to the Silicon City.
Right.
That is, it has taken a route via Science City, 1930, were nearby my house. Tata Institute of Science in 1907, it was established. Then came in 1940s, it was the public sector hub. Then in 1950s, it was very popularly known as the Milk City. Then from Milk to it is Silicon City.
Correct.
And it is just an international city. You know, earlier the migration used to be from a different part of the country. Now it is different part of the world. People come and live here and they love to live here. Because one of the two things they like is the climatic conditions and the greenery. These are the major things that has to be concentrated.
Right. But my question to you was, in terms of the younger voter, when you interacted with an 18-year-old voter back then, and say an 18-year-old voter today, what is the very huge difference you find in the attitude or the political expectation in this age group?
Well, when I started my political career, it was a Bangalore city, was a pensioner city.
Right.
Now it is a city of opportunities.
Right.
The youngsters, are fond and searching for opportunities. After the demonetization, they are facing a lot of hardship because a lot of industrial units have closed down. And it is not worse like other states, but it is not up to the mark which they were enjoying. So I think we have to address that issue immediately. That's a very serious issue of unemployment because it is the city of opportunities. Nobody goes without any work.
Right.
But of late, after the demonetization, there are a lot of problems have cropped up.
If you have to give a 5-point agenda for Bangalore South and the youngsters of Bangalore South, would you be able to give me one, sir?
This is the most, the voters of Bangalore city, especially the Bangalore South, they're one of the most intellectual voters rather. And first and the foremost vote should be whether to save constitution, protect constitution, that should be their choice. And second, whether they and to establish and in the democratic norms.
That was not my question, sir. I said 5 points for the youngsters of Bangalore.
5 points for the youngsters is, first they should have full confidence in constitution of this country. The second point is, the city is one of the most best cosmopolitan city in the world, and you have to protect the culture of this city because people have lived here with harmonious relationship with every religion and the caste. That is my second point. And they should have a civic responsibility of developing the city as their own hometown.
That's for them, sir. My question would be for you, in terms of a plan for your constituency that you wish to win.
My plan for Bangalore.
Because you're up against a very formidable legacy of a MP who won 6 times from this constituency. So if you had to...
Anyway, I don't want to make much comment on what Mr. Anant Kumar has done, but I have to re-establish the glory of the Congress, where the public sector had a lot of role to play in terms of employment and in terms of development, because some of the major public sector were privatized.
Right.
And we does not allow that. And we would like to encourage youngsters with all facilities. You know, there should be one of the international convention center should come up, because it's the capital.
Here in Bangalore South, sir?
Bangalore South. So it should, startup city should come. It is a startup city. A good international convention center should come up. And we will have to develop a green patch, you know. Another kind of Lal Bagh should be developed in Bomanhalli. That's my third point. And we'll try to draw water from Mekedatu to sort out the drinking water problem in the southern part of the Bangalore city, and management of the garbage.
Okay.
That's one of the major issues that is confronting the normal city.
Right. You spoke about a green patch, a possible second green patch at Bomanhalli. I mean, green is something which is very dear to Bangaloreans in general, and South Bangaloreans especially. How about things like, you know, reducing the buffer zone around Bannerghatta from, you know, to 100 kilometers? These are extremely sensitive decisions that have been taken, which many argue is adversely affecting our environment.
No.
What would you have to say about it?
You know, probably people have not realized, the people, you know, big real estate owners have not realized this is not Bombay or Calcutta, where there are no space. Whereas Bangalore, in the initial stage up to 1986, it was just 54 square kilometer. Now it is 800 square kilometer.
Okay.
We have all possibility of expanding Bangalore city. Instead of making a congested plans, they should have a plan for 25 years, so that a lot of problems could be sorted out. And planning should be for 25 years, not for today. Nowadays, the planning which are being done, it's not for tomorrow also, it is only for today. That planning system has to be changed.
Our readers also send in a question, and we usually choose one question from our reader. Our reader Amrit had asked, do you have any plan to decongest the city in terms of population? You know, reduce and start creating suburban areas to, you know, work around. Do you have anything like that?
Yes, of course. You know, we had satellite towns earlier.
Correct.
And we have to have a connectivity for some of them. We should have a major satellite towns, because Bangalore district is a huge district. And we can, to decongest, as I said, proper planning should be there in the new layouts. And it should be expanded beyond 30 kilometers.
Right.
So while going beyond 30 kilometers, I think proper planning of the international level should be adopted.
Right. So you, like I mentioned, you're a 4-time MP into the Rajya Sabha. If you had to give me 4 points which you consider major achievement during your tenure in the Parliament, what would those be? And secondly, how do you think your long stint in the Rajya Sabha will help you represent us in the Lok Sabha?
Well, in my long stint in Rajya Sabha, almost from 30 years, I am in and out of Rajya Sabha, right from 1990. One of the major things I started was to establish an international airport in Bangalore. I demanded in 94.
Right.
And in 95 it was declared as an international airport. The other major achievement was I was in 10 major standing committee and consultative committees. I was the member of the Urban Development Committee for a long time, Urban and Rural Development Committee. And some of the major works which have been taken, you know, we had a lot of inputs for those things, whether it is a flyover or elevated corridors. These are all the major things I took it up. And I initiated 27% reservation for weaker section in the higher education. I was one among those people who initiated. And I'm proud to say that I contributed to pass the Women's Reservation Bill of 33% in Rajya Sabha way back in 2009. 2010, we passed that bill in Rajya Sabha, and it is still pending for the clearance in the Lok Sabha. Right.
Now that you brought up the Women's Reservation Bill, I'd like to ask you a question about your opponent, the very young Tejasvi Surya. Sir, he recently brought out an injunction against the media, asking them not to publish derogatory and defamatory articles on him. What is your take? Freedom of press is very essential in a democracy. What is your take on the matter, sir?
This is exactly, I told you, what youth should be doing. It's a free society, and freedom of expression and freedom of speech, there should not be any hurdle. Once you are in public life, you are bound to face the criticism.
Right.
But unfortunately, you can't help this young guy because his mentor or his guru or his model, Mr. Narendra Modi, had no guts to have a press conference for the past 5 years to say what is his achievement.
So well, you spoke about mentorship and you spoke about freedom of press, but just to go back a little in time, you started your political career as a student leader yourself under the mentorship of Mr. Gundu Rao. Now, many people might not know this because it's pre-internet days. In 1980, Mr. Gundu Rao made a statement that all journalists should be thrown into the Arabian Sea, which created quite a bit of a furor. And on September 22nd, 1980, Youth Congress leaders actually, locked the gates to Prajavani and Indian Express and did not allow for papers to come out that day. If you had to take away lessons from that mistake that happened that time, because you were very active in the Youth Congress, and when I speak to senior journalists of that time, they said, yeah, we've heard of Mr. Hariprasad in that context, and all of that. So if you have to give a piece of advice to the youngsters from the lessons you learned about trying to curb the freedom of press, what would that be?
Well, my political, let me make a little correction. My political mentor was Professor M.P.L. Shastri, who was my principal in MAS College.
Right.
So then in the political field, we were in a group of Mr. Gundu Rao and F.M. Khan. That was a group comprising of the secular forces.
Mr. F.M. Khan actually led the Youth Congress again, to lock the gates at that point of time. At least that's what the senior journalists tell us.
Both Mr. Gundu Rao and F.M. Khan are no more, so I don't want to name them in any of these controversies.
Right.
Anyway, the party had taken the decision, and already long back I said it should not have happened, and I really regret for whatever it has happened. But the youngsters of this day, it's the 21st century. The youngsters should know it's a free world. It's a global village, and people should. And it's the era of the information technology. Nobody can hide, and nobody can do anything behind the iron curtain. It's open to everybody, and they should feel free for criticism. Then only they can come up. Now, a lot of people criticize me for nothing, but I faced it. I've come up to this.
Right.
I've seen the international forums. Even I addressed UN Assembly back in 2009. So we have seen the forms in different forms, and in democracy, freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and there should not be any kind of hindrances.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Mr. Hariprasad is very clear that the freedom of expression is something that cannot be messed with, given his own experience in the matter. And that's all we have for you from Citizens Live today. Thank you so much. Join us again next time.